All right, once you have your locations, as I kind of have added here, and you have your complete route, you do need to make sure you end at Indian Hills. So my bus route starts at Indian Hills, goes to Ramapo College, goes to Juniors, and then just because I don't want anyone to have too much fun, we stop by the Department of Motor Vehicles in the Copper Tree Mall, and then I bring everyone back to Indian Hills now that they're probably in a very bad mood. But you do have to make sure you end at Indian Hills. So my first and last point will be Indian Hills, and this is a circular, well, not a circular, but it's a complete route where you go out and come back and end at Hills. Now, if I want the more specific information, like how long it takes and how far we've gone, you come over here to your layer, and what you do is you click on these little three dots, and if you choose step-by-step directions, you get everything. You get the total distance of the entire route, the total time. And if you look underneath A, I have some information. That's the distance and how long it takes me to get from A to B. So to go from Indian Hills to Ramapo College, which was my second, 6.4 miles, and it's going to take 13 minutes to get there. You can ignore all the kind of specific distances and things here. You can just deal with the totals. So to get from A to the next stop, which is B, 6.4 miles. You will have to convert that into meters. You can certainly use Google if you like. We do not want to be dealing with miles. And you will have to convert minutes into seconds. But you do get the information here. So to then go from Ramapo College to, I believe it was Juniors, I think. I'm going to go 5.8 miles. That's going to take 11 minutes, and so on and so forth. So that's how you can get the individual distances between routes, the total distance. The individual times between routes aren't found underneath. So to go from C to D, it takes 2 minutes. If you want the total time, you can either take that up top, or you can add, the times if you want the time between specific number of stops. All right, so this is where you're going to get all of your information here. That will give you your distances. That will give you your times. The only thing it will not do is give you your displacements, because these are distances. To find the displacements, you have to go and let's say I want to find between Indian Hills and Ramapo. You come over here next to the directions tab, you click measure distances and areas, and I don't really like that because you're not really measuring distances. If you measure a straight line, you're measuring displacements, but whatever. So I choose that, make sure it's highlighted. I will click on Indian Hills, and then I'm just going to drag out, and I'm going to not click again, and I'll explain why in a second. So I now know that the displacement is 5.03 miles, which is kind of shown in the little box that's next to my cursor. And assuming up is north, down is south, this is going to be about northeast. So 5.02 miles northeast. If I don't click, I can then actually move this around, and I can go to all the other locations, and I can find the displacement to any specific point fairly easily. If you click, it's okay, but just realize once I click, it makes a new point, and then it just keeps adding a total on. So technically, I am finding some kind of distance, and that's not going to end well because everything's going to be larger than it should be. So if that's the point, if that's the case, I hit escape, and then I just restart from Indian Hills. So if you accidentally click anywhere and you're like, oh, shoot, just hit escape, and then you should be able to click and go on to whatever point. I just don't click from the beginning. But that will allow you to get distances, displacements, and times, which should allow you to calculate your speeds, your velocities, etc., etc.